So I want to talk about how everyone is trying to erase the past. Like if it didn't happen in the early 2000s or the 90s, it just didn't happen. Like if you forget the past, you're doomed to repeat it. That's why I really wasn't a fan of them taking down the Confederate statues. Not to glorify those people, but to never forget what happened in this country so it never happens again. But for some reason, we're just pretending like anything in the before like 1990, like pre-internet, it just never happened. And I don't understand why we're doing that. I heard that there was this young lady and she had this groundbreaking idea to stop using social media and apps and actually talk to people in person. Like, and the person that was saying this was acting like it was a groundbreaking idea. How can that be groundbreaking when we've been doing that for thousands and thousands of years? Yet, just the last decade plus, we've been doing that. How is that groundbreaking? And then I heard a commercial talking about if you want to blow people's minds, use your mirrors to back up instead of the camera. What? You realize vehicles have been around and with mirrors on them long before the camera, and people use mirrors to back up. I don't get how we think that, oh my, like that backup camera has been on for forever. I don't I don't understand how we think that. And I guess it's just like pre-internet social media. I don't know. Like for some reason I've noticed that everyone's in high school. Like no one matures at all. It, like I've heard people that are old, 40s, 50s, using language that like a high schooler would use. Like I've heard this a lot, mid, like something's like just okay, I guess. But I'm hearing it on ESPN and FS1 and like there's old people using this. I why why are we doing that? I don't remember when I was young people speaking like this. They just spoke English because you grew up. But maybe that's because we want strangers' attention so much, so anything to get someone's attention. I worked in a middle school as a para, and I looked over, and these girls had set up their phone, and they were like dancing and everything. And I looked to a coworker, and I was like, I am so glad I am not growing up right now. I am so glad. And she's like, why? I'm like, look at those young ladies. I was like, they are willing to do anything and everything to get a stranger's attention. A stranger's attention. Like, that has to be a mental disorder that you're willing to do whatever, whenever to get someone that doesn't care about you at all in the least, but yet you want their attention so bad that you are willing to do anything for it. And I see all these young people being sponsored and stuff like that, and these companies only use you as long as you can make them money. And when you can't make them money anymore, it's gonna be bad. And if you think mental health of young people is low now, their self-esteem is low, just wait till you get tossed, just tossed away like you're nothing. That that's not gonna feel good. And I've always heard you don't judge a book by its cover, but that's literally all social media is. And just not even social media, just the world we live in, the technology and everything else. It like they have a mental disorder for almost everything. Like if you're obese now, there's they've whittled it down to a gene, and if you take our drug, we can help you with that. But then that drug will cause this side effect, and then but we guess what? We have another drug for you, and you can continue to buy drugs from us. You're welcome. And we're making all these terms up because everyone's a victim, so you don't actually have to take responsibility for your own actions. I mean, if you're overweight, do something about it, right? If you're not very intelligent, do something about it. I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight. You're not just going to get skinny, get smart, get strong, get fast, whatever you want. But if you're a victim, then you're never going to change. And that's another thing in social media. I don't care what people think about me. But then when someone says something positive, their chest pops out and they're like, yeah, they said this. But then when someone says something negative, I don't care what people think of me. Well, if you didn't care what people think of you, then you wouldn't care that they said something positive. Because people don't work like that. You can't turn it on and off like that. You can't. It's impossible. If someone says something positive and it matters to you, if they say something negative, it's still going to matter to you, whether you're lying about it or not. Just, I can't imagine what it's like to be 60, 70, 80 years old, because I'm 39 years old and I don't recognize this world from 20 years ago. I do not. Like, the things that I was taught in the early 2000s when I was in high school are the exact opposite of what they're teaching now. Like, I was always taught to be your own person, to stand out, be unique, and literally that's the opposite now. It's fit in, do whatever that celebrity, that athlete, or that person tells you to do, and what to wear, and how to think. And I really want people just to learn how to think for themselves. Take in the information, make a decision, and go. Like, I've told a couple of people, if you hesitate while driving, stop. Don't hesitate. Stop, rethink, and then go. Because if you hesitate, you're probably going to cut someone off or something else. Just don't hesitate. Make a decision and roll with it. It might be wrong, it might be right. Then you deal with the consequences. This world. And I've heard multiple people saying they're crying real tears. These aren't fake tears. I was like, is that implying that your other tears were fake? And I shouldn't believe those tears, and now I should believe your tears? Or like the phrase someone says, trust me. Oh, just trust me on this one. It's like, how about I make my own decision? I make an informed one. And like, it even happened before social media, but it's gotten worse, that we're glorifying behaviors, and these young people look up to these people glorifying these degenerate behaviors as far as alcohol, drugs, just having sex with whatever that moves, but then they get in trouble for it. So how can that be when you're telling people look up to this person, but then the young person does what the other person tells them to do, and then they're getting in trouble? Well, you're not old enough. Well, then why are they allowed to watch something like that or listen to something like that if they're not allowed to do it? Because what you take in is just, it's going to come out. If you take in, if you're around people that cuss all the time, you're probably going to cuss all the time. If you're around people that do drugs all the time, you're probably going to do drugs all the time. If you're around people that are polite, you're probably going to be polite. It's just what you take in. So I was binge watching Dexter, and I was like, somebody would do something, and I'm like this violence, and I'm like, what is happening? And I'm like, son of a, And it hit me like because I was binge watching Dexter. What you put in and take in, that affects you. When I was growing up and I was in high school in the early 2000s, that's when it was really becoming a big thing about video games warping kids' minds, making them more violent, desensitized. And everyone's like, no, no, no. But it absolutely does. Everything you take in, like, you can't watch a TV show or movie without just sex, sex, sex. And that just tells people to go out and have sex, and it makes you want sex more from seeing it. Just what you put in comes out. You can't help it. It's us as humans, so take in better material.